Hey everyone, Karnak here, Star Wars Armada Explained. It's your buddy. Today we're going to look at the objective card Precision Strike. So I've got a lot of pieces on the table here just to kind of show something about Precision Strike. You'll notice there's a lot more Rebel squads. We'll get into that. So Precision Strike, it's a red objective. Setup states, after deploying fleets, each of the second player ships gains a concentrate fire token. Seems pretty reasonable. Special rule. When a squadron with bomber or a ship is attacking, it may spend one die with a hit icon to flip one random face down damage card on the defender face up. After a squadron with bomber or a ship performs an attack, its owner gains one victory token for each damage card that was dealt face up or flipped face up during that attack. So let's dive into Precision Strike. It is going to be a little bit of talky, again, just to make sure I'm covering all aspects of the objective. So remember with Precision Strike that after deploying fleet's part, if you're using Admiral Raddus, for example, if you have any ships tucked away in hyperspace, so if they're not deployed on the table physically, it does not gain the benefit of that concentrate fire token if you're the second player for Admiral Raddus, or if you're first player, it doesn't matter. So if you're the second player Admiral Raddus and somebody picks that objective and you put your ships in hyperspace or profundity or anything like that, technically they're not deployed on the table. They don't gain the concentrate fire token. Because that step takes place after deploying fleets, and when you tuck away any of your ships, that's before you deploy any fleets. So that's the timing window on that. For the special rule, so only squadrons with the bomber, key there, the monkey ear, that's that bolded letter. Only squadrons of bomber or ships, when they are attacking, they can spend one die with a hit icon to flip one random face down damage card on the defender face up. Also, if you deal any face up damage cards to a ship, either from a squadron of bomber or a ship, you gain one victory token for each damage card that was dealt face up or flipped face up. And for each victory point that you get 15 MOV for 15 victory points. There is no clarifications or errata for Precision Strike. I mean, when you read the card, it's very straightforward, but again, want to make sure I'm covering all aspects. So let's talk about some things. So I have here laid out every squadron that has the bomber keyword on them. All the TIE bombers, all the Y-wings. You'll see the green squadron for A-wings, Skirgs, Lancers, all the Y-wings, all the X-wings, all the E-wings. Dash, who's a YT 2400 hero, he has the bomber keyword. A lot of people don't realize that. So, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different squadrons, not counting all the different card variants, just 8 squadron types total that have bomber, compared to, oh, look at there, Imperials only have 4. Okay. Cool, that seems balanced. I mean, yeah, that's, if you look at the movies, you'll see that the Rebels are more multi-role and versatile, and that's just kind of their deal. They're meant to do a lot of things and be more flexible compared to Imperials who like to focus on one aspect at a time. But you'll see this objective come up a lot more typically on Rebel players than you will on Imperial players. Not that Imperial players won't take it, but as you can kind of tell, it does benefit bringing squadrons of bomber keyword, and the Rebels have a lot more flexibility in how they build towards that compared to Imperials, which is, you either breed TIE bombers or TIE defenders, and that's pretty much all you get. There's not a whole lot of fire spray action going around because they're a little expensive. Same thing with defenders, again, a little expensive. So why do I bring this up? Because Rebels can still build a very good anti-squadron fleet or anti-ship fleet with their squadrons because of this huge amount of flexibility compared to Imperials. One thing I want to bring up about this precision strike in terms of the timing. So remember, the timing for when you're doing an attack, let's do this as an example. So we're going to say the Star Destroyer here, and we're going to say, yeah, we'll have Ketsu fly over. So Ketsu's flying over, she's shooting the front of the Star Destroyer. We're going to say he doesn't have any shields left. So no shields. No shields left in the front or the left or the right. We'll say it all. Let's say it's been making poor choices. It's been getting bombed a lot. So Ketsu. Oh, you know what? We'll also say it's already taken 1 hull damage. So that way, it also has drawn 1 damage card face down, and maybe it rammed another ship or something. Who knows? There's 1 damage card. So the timing on this card is that if you're making an attack, and as long as you roll the 2, let's see, Ketsu throws 2 blue, so she throws 2 blue. And in here, she threw an accuracy and a blue hit. Now, in this situation, obviously, you know, you only get the victory points if you deal a face-up damage card. If she had rolled a critical, for example, which she didn't. So, as it says on here, you can spend that icon. So in this situation, you know, you kind of have to determine, is it worth putting on 1 damage? Or maybe there's something under that card that can still be helpful, and you gain a victory point token for it. So you can spend, now remember, when the attacker is spending a die in the attack step, that cannot be canceled in any way by the defender. Okay, you can't Major Durlin it, you can't Brunson it, you can't get rid of it, you can't ab initio it, okay, because it's still the attacker's step, and the attacker is spending, i.e. removing that die from the die pool to flip that card face up. So he's going to flip that card face up, and it's a Thruster Fisher in this situation. Now, I'm going to modify the die here. So we're just going to roll 2. So what happens, for example, if she had rolled a crit and a hit? So you can spend that hit and get 1 victory point or 1 victory token. You flip that card face up. Okay, you've resolved that card. Then when you actually then deal damage to that Star Destroyer, because that's still, you know, the critical is it's bomber, you're still doing damage. Critical face up. You draw that face up. Oh, let me make it more randomized. There we go. Just want to shuffle that deck. You pull that card. You flip it face up. In this case, it's point defense failure. Then you gain another victory token from that. So you just gained 30 points from 1 attack. Because again, you spent the hit to flip that card face up. And then you dealt a 2nd damage with the critical icon for a 2nd face up. You can quickly see why this card is a little bit more advantageous to Rebels than to Imperials. Because Imperials, they only have 3 squadrons that can throw double die as bomber. Merrick Steel, Boba Fett, and a regular fire spray. Compared to B-Wings, Skirgs, Ketsu throws 2, Gold Squadron throws 2. You can just quickly see how Rebels can build squads where they can throw the 2 and 2, and man, they can just really start racking up those points really, really quickly compared to Imperial. So you'll see a lot of Rebel players really liking this card. Again, not that Imperials, you know, can't take it. And again, I'm giving that as an example there. What happens if you drew, for example, this first card here wasn't Thruster Fisher? What happens if it was a structural damage? Well, that is really unfortunate for you, because what does the card say after you draw the extra damage card? You flip that card face down. Yep, that card can get picked again. Now, you don't just set it out in front of your opponent, you know, because it's supposed to be random. So how is that randomness determined? The opponent ultimately is the one who chooses which card gets flipped, by the way, not the defender. The defender doesn't choose the card. But that doesn't mean the defender can't take the cards as long as he keeps them face down, he doesn't look at them, never turn your face down damage cards face up. You can take those cards however you want to in front of your opponent. You can shuffle those cards, okay? You don't just have to leave them there and leave them in the exact same spot. Otherwise, what's going to happen? He's going to pick that same card over and over and over, and it's bad juju for you. So especially if you have a structural damage on your large ship like a Star Destroyer, you need to be shuffling those cards and trying to reduce that chance of him picking that card. That is totally okay to do that. Because again, it needs to be random. It's not random if it's just one card that's sitting in one spot that he can keep choosing over and over. Okay, you can pick those cards up, keep them face down, shuffle them up, and then lay them back down on the table. And then he can choose. Totally acceptable. That's not cheating. That's not gaming that person. If anything, it's unfair to you if you didn't do that. Because then he's just going to choose the same structural damage every single time. So that's one thing I wanted to make sure I was pointing out for the face down damage cards. And that's another thing I wanted to point out again for Precision Strike. So in this case, we had that squadron be able to do that. Well, again, you can do the same deal with ships, and I have the flotillas here for a reason. We'll get to them. So if a ship, for example, if this Star Destroyer was to shoot this Liberty, and the Liberty already had suffered a hull damage for maybe they rammed each other, who knows. And so the Star Destroyer will say it's an ISD2 version. It deploys a 4 red, 4 blue, 2 accuracies. So we're gonna say that, you know, it hits both the Liberty's braces. Maybe the Star Destroyer has XI7, you know, in the turbo laser slot, so the ship can't redirect. So in this situation, you can spend the hit, flip that card, depowered armament. Okay, now you bust through the 5 shields. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or we'll say that he didn't have 5 shields in the front. You know, he maybe had 1 less. And then you bust through the shield, and you deal another face-up damage card. Life support failure. So that's immediately 2 tokens for you. So again, it's not just squadrons that can benefit from double tapping in that manner. Also with Precision Strike, remember it says it may spend 1 die with a hit icon to flip 1 random face down damage card face up. So that hit icon, okay, it has to be a hit icon. So you can't spend accuracies, you can't spend criticals. You can spend double hits. You can spend a hit crit. Oh, hey, I rolled that. So yeah, you can spend a single hit blue. You can spend a double hit red or a hit crit black. Why? Because again, it's all it's saying is you can spend a die with a hit icon. With a hit icon. Those have a hit icon. They're not excluded from that. It doesn't matter if there's 2 icons or a hit crit. So you can choose any one of those. Now, obviously, you probably don't want to give up double damage to spend on that card, you know, because those are hard enough already to get. So you probably want to keep those unless you roll like a million of them. So that's that situation with Precision Strike there. Now let's get into why I have the flotillas out. And this is probably the biggest one that gets a lot of players all the time because they don't understand the order or steps. One time I had a Gazanti here. I had rammed him into another Gazanti. And a rebel player had a rogue fighter chasing down my flotilla the entire time, like a Lancer or, you know, Dash, who've got the bomber keyword there. And they weren't trying to kill the flotilla. You know what they were doing? Because it was one of those cards. Because it was he shot it with the 2, or even just the 1. You know, the 1 die Dash. He throws the 1 black. So he throws the 1 black. He gets the hit. I flip this card face up, and it's damage munitions, which this card in this situation would stay face up. But it was one of those cards where it was like shield failure or something like that, where it was a card you kept flipping face back down. So I literally had this squadron chasing my Gazanti the whole game, just, you know, doing the 1 damage, canceling the die, farming a token. Next turn, rinse, lather, repeat. He farmed like 45 points. Yeah, 45 points or 60 points off my one flotilla. So it turned my flotilla something that is only, 23 points, 25 points with ComsNet, and he farmed 60 points off of it. And then at the end, he finally decided to put some effort into killing it. But for the most part, for something as weak as that, because why can that happen? Because remember, you're spending that die before the spend defense token step. So the Gazanti can't scatter it because it can only scatter damage after your opponent has says, okay, I'm done in my attack step, I've done modifying, now it's your turn in the spend defense token step. That's where you then spend any and all defensive tokens that you have. If in the case of scatter, if you spend the scatter, it will cancel all damage when you get to resolve damage step. But again, since that die is being spent in the while attacking phase, you don't reach the spend defense token step. So that's why you can continue to farm points in that manner off of those flotillas. And again, that's why Major Durlin doesn't work. That's why Captain Burnson doesn't work. That's why Ammunition doesn't work. That's why defense tokens in any form don't work, because the attacker is able to spend that die before you reach that step to where the defender can respond. So that's Precision Strike. Again, very basic, very straightforward, but again, I kind of want to make sure I was showing some of these examples here of how you can score on it, score really big. Obviously seeing some of the ways you could potentially lay out a strategy to farm tokens. This objective, I've played it and I've had it go big for me. I've also had the objective flipped on me to where, man, it really bit me in the butt. So it's definitely something you have to be careful of too, because if your opponent also brought a lot of bombers, has a lot of ships that can capitalize on just blinking something over and over and farming points off of it. Oh yeah, because Gazanti too, not only was the squadron getting shot at, there was a CR-90 that was just shooting at it from the side and spending, because it does. You can keep flipping that card face up, but as long as it says turn face back down, any future follow-on attack can just farm, so many points and tokens off of it. But that's Precision Strike. As far as I'm aware, there's no other crazy interactions or super weird things going on. Of course, if you feel like anything's in error or if I got anything wrong, please be sure to comment. Let me know. I always respond to my comments. Love hearing from you guys. Or if you have any requests for any cards or anything else, please be sure to let me know. Otherwise, this video is one of the first ones I've actually been doing where I'm going to be putting on a schedule. Try to put out some more scheduled content, so I'm not trying to rush through my day to have time for this kind of stuff. But I appreciate you all watching these videos. Hope you're learning from them, and I'll catch you next time.